Hello again, my name is Daniel Call. I'm making another YouTube video for the first time in a long time here in Japan. Just in case anybody was interested on my take on some of the recent developments that have been going on over here. I just wanted to say that I've been up north several dozen times here participating in volunteer work and things like that, along with thousands upon thousands of other people. And it's still very, very difficult in some of the sections of the area affected by the tsunami of March 11th, 2011, but it is getting better in some places. In the areas near the large cities, for example, around Sendai, which is a very large city up there in northeastern Japan, progress is quite smooth. It's coming along pretty well. The roads are rebuilt. A lot of buildings have been rebuilt. They are beefing up their sea walls again, and they're making a lot of progress up there. But it comes down to sort of a matter of money, unfortunately. Sendai's a big city. There's a lot of money floating around. There are also a lot of volunteers who are willing to help out. There's also a lot of government aid that's going into Sendai and its environment, the suburbs and things like that. So the area around Sendai is rebuilding itself quite quickly. But the progress is not uniform. If you get into the outlying fishing villages or farming villages that lie along the coast up and down north and south of Sendai, some of these towns have seen very little progress at all. A big problem, of course, is they don't have as much money as Sendai does, and another part of the problem is that it's very difficult to decide amongst the people themselves, how they actually want to rebuild their towns. Some of these towns, especially in the far north that were affected, they have very limited space to begin with, and so it's very difficult to draw the lines between the people who are going to lose all their land to the ocean and those whose lands can be sort of it can be filled and then raised a few meters, and then they can build their house again on top of the new raised land. It's a really difficult line to draw because you got all kinds of property rights involved and things like that. The local governments, the city halls, the town halls, village halls up there, of course, are doing their best to try to be as fair and equitable about where to draw the line and everything like that. But it is a really, really difficult process, and that seems to be what has delayed the rebuilding of those smaller towns and villages as long as it has. I mean, it's been a year and a half, more than a year and a half, since the tsunami. But this winter, this coming winter, since they can't go out and fish and farm very much anyway during the winter, they've devoted themselves to gathering together in meeting halls and thrashing this out, talking to each other, and really coming up with a final plan. And hopefully by next spring we'll have a final plan, and they can really get into the rebuilding process. We'll see how that goes. They are making progress, but so far it's not a lot of physical progress. It's more of a mental progress kind of thing. That said, there is a little bit of progress in all those various areas, but the thing I want to talk about mostly today is the area around the nuclear power plant that was destroyed by the tsunami on March 11th last year. There is a lot of good news coming out of Fukushima. I mean, day by day we're hearing reports. They've instituted a program where they thoroughly test everything grown in that prefecture, foodstuffs and other kinds of produce, to make sure that it is well within the strict limits of the Japanese government, for cesium-134 and 137, which are two of the main radioisotopes that people are worried about over here. And they've been able to ship just about all their rice. They've been able to ship a lot of their fruit. The only problem where they're still having problems is in the wild vegetables and wild mushrooms and wild game meat areas there. You don't want to go fishing in some of the streams around the area close to the plant, because the fish, the trout, etc., because they live in the rivers, they are highly contaminated with cesium and things like that. But if you eat only inspected food, you're not going to have too much trouble. It's a matter of where you go out and just like gather things on your own there, where they're having some of the problems there. But that said, there's a lot of great news coming out of Fukushima. There's a lot of reports are coming out bit by bit. Results of tests on people as to how much radiation they've received since the accident and stuff like that. And the test results are actually quite encouraging. The biggest test to date was put out about 4 or 5 months ago. I translated it and put it on my blog if you want to take a look. Something like 99.8% of the people in Fukushima who had been tested to that date, and that was about 50,000 people at that time, had received in total since the accident less than 15 millisieverts of cesium or internal and external exposure to radioactive isotopes, and that's really, really good. When I say 99.8%, less than 15 millisieverts, that's kind of, you have to read the article to understand, but well over 90% received very negligible amounts, like less than 1 millisievert per year, which is just about normal. It's not that much different from normal. So, there's all kinds of good news coming out of Fukushima. The problem is, of course, is they can't take the entire results for everybody in the prefecture and put it into one package just yet. The results are coming out bit by bit. 1,000 people here, 2,000 there, 5,000 there, kind of thing. It's coming out in dribbles, and so each of these announcements where they say, "Hey, most of the people were not experienced to anywhere near the amount of radiation that you would have to worry about it, health-wise and stuff like that." It comes out in bits and pieces, and so there's no big, grand, huge announcement. And that's sad, because there are a lot of people on cyberspace and in the blogosphere out there who continue to spin news about Fukushima in a bad way. They're disparaging the people over there in Fukushima and making it sound like, people are dying, and that is simply not the case. Read some of the stuff on my blog. Read reasoned articles about the Fukushima disaster, again, from UN agencies, the IAEA, WHO, all these guys. Read their stuff, in addition to the stuff that you might see on a blog, and you'll see that there's a big difference between what they're saying. Okay? I am neither pro-nuclear or anti-nuclear. I'm right down the middle on all this stuff. But when certain groups who produce blogs disparage the people of Fukushima, it makes me very, very angry. When they say that people in Fukushima are, they have nosebleeds all day long, or they're all going bald, or they're all tipping over in the streets, or something like that. There's a lot of crap on the internet that just really upsets me and a lot of other people, because personally I have relatives up in that area. I have friends, lots and lots of friends up in that area, and I've been up there, like I say, several dozen times, and none of what they are blathering about is true. All they're doing is creating a certain prejudice against the people of Fukushima, and that just really, really is unfair. It's unfair, and it should not be done. So whenever you see this kind of stuff on the internet, or even in your local newspaper, take it with a grain of salt. Read more background information, and you'll find out that most of what they're saying is a pure exaggeration. It's not true. Just write it off, okay? Things are happening slowly but surely. They know who they need to monitor and to continue monitoring for their health, for the health effects of the iodine and the cesium up there in Fukushima. They got their address, they know where they live, they know their names, their ages, all that kind of stuff, and they are being checked on a periodic basis. So it's not a great situation, but it's not a, what shall I say, a tragic, hysterical situation. Please keep in mind that they're doing the best they can over here. Everybody is still continuing to work really, really hard. Please continue to pray for them. Please continue to think about Japan. And if you're at all adventurous, come on over and visit Japan. There's a lot of great things to see, especially in the northeastern part of Japan. A lot of historical relics. Come on over. Visit their hot springs. We got a lot of hot springs up in that part of the country. Talk to the local people. See how strong they are. See how they are getting over the this incredible disaster. They are making headway. But please come and visit them. Come and see them. Come and eat some of their local produce, and spend a little money in their shops if you would. That would really help them get back on their feet. We would appreciate it. Thank you very much.